Welcome, everybody. This is episode 37 of the Super Grapple Bros podcast. We are two brothers who happen to like WWE and wrestling, and who also used to, WWE and video games and wrestling and all that stuff. And I'm butchering this intro, but it's okay because we've got a special episode today. This episode is our Wrestle Kingdom 12 review show. Last week, we did our first impressions of Wrestle Kingdom 12 because I had seen most of it. You had only really seen Omega Jericho, the Alpha versus the Omega. I was in the middle of that. I only had that and the main event, Okada Naito, to go. We have now both seen all of it.
Well, I've seen most of it.
You've seen everything but the Rumble, which was on the pre-show,
I've seen everything but the Rumble, and I think there was like one or two like 6-man tag
There was
matches.
one 6-man.
Yeah,
it was
so
a 6-man, I think.
It was those two matches I didn't see.
Well, you didn't really miss too much from the 6-man tag match. It was entertaining, but it wasn't anything that lit the world on fire. So now that you have seen the full show, what do you think?
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yes, me too.
I have a very tough time deciding what my favorite match of the night was.
I know what my favorite match of the night was, but there were a couple contenders. But before we get into it really quick, I just want to let you guys know, in addition to talking about Wrestle Kingdom 12 and reviewing it, we are also going to be going into, back into the WWE world, as we normally do, talking over things that happened there, talking about the Raw 25th anniversary show that's happening. I believe it's this Monday.
I think so.
And we're also going to be transitioning over into video games and video game news. We're going to be talking about the debut of the Overwatch League, which is which turned out to be a very, very big deal. I mean, obviously lots and lots of millions of dollars was invested into it, but apparently it's exceeding expectations with its viewership, which is cool. So we're going to be talking about that, maybe other things in video games. I just now realized that we may not have gone into a ton of looking into video game news because of Overwatch League and Wrestle Kingdom and everything, but we may not actually have time because we're under a time constraint today to get to regular video game news, so we might just talk Overwatch League in video game news. We'll find out.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So, Wrestle Kingdom 12 started out with the pre-show Rumble, which I'm going to bring up the match card because I cannot remember the names of everybody. It was won by Masahito Kakihara. He threw out Cheeseburger last, which, you know who Cheeseburger is?
No, but I love the name.
Cheeseburger is this very skinny, like 140, 150 pounds soaking wet dude who dresses in green and yellow gear, and he basically just has his whole gimmick is he will have cheeseburgers with him. I think he sometimes throws cheeseburgers into the crowd.
I mean, I would do that.
So his name is just Cheeseburger, and so because of his gimmick, he's just over with the Japanese crowd because it's so absurd.
Yeah, I mean, also at the same time, if I were in his position, I'd look at him and be like, so you want to pay me money to not only wrestle, but have and throw out, but mostly the have part, cheeseburgers as well. How can I sign on the dotted line fast enough? I don't know if I can.
Yeah. So basically, the Rumble was good. I was glad for Kakihara because he was a cancer survivor. So they kind of I feel like the win was kind of like a nice little cathartic thing for him, which was really cool. The other interesting thing about the Rumble is the New Japan Rumble is also where you get to see old Japanese stars come on out.
Like
and
Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yeah, like you got to see Jushin Thunder Liger, Tiger Mask, Taka Michinoku, and be like,
oh, Michinoku.
Damn, you guys got old.
Yep.
Like, I don't even know. I remember when Liger battled Tyler Breeze at TakeOver Brooklyn. I think that was Brooklyn 1.
Yeah, it was 1.
And being like, man, Liger can still go, but dude, is he old? And that was like 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe 2 years ago. I can't remember. 2 years ago? 3 years ago? Anyway, time has passed since Liger's match in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
it's
2 years ago because we just had TakeOver Brooklyn 3.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But it's amazing how, like, even for like a Rumble to see him show up and do stuff, it's almost very similar to kind of like in the Royal Rumble where it's like, oh my god, it's 2012 and Diesel's here.
Yeah, basically.
So, or oh my god, it's the Godfather. Oh my god, there goes the Godfather.
I'm guessing this year we're probably going to see RVD. By the way,
we almost always see RVD.
Well, he's been gone for a while, and the reason I think that is because it's in Philly. Which, by the way, WWE, that worked so well for you last time, right? Having the Royal Rumble in Finley.
Especially if they have Roman win again.
Philly, yeah.
You know, it was a good idea having Roman Reigns win the Royal Rumble in Philly. Let's do that again.
Maybe they'll do it this time and really go and push into the heel turn finally.
Maybe. I think that might also be why a lot of people are thinking that they won't go with Roman to win the Rumble, and he'll just become the number one contender through like a number one contenders match or something. Because like, imagine if you can't put The Rock in that building and get him over in Philly. There's nothing you can do a second time. If you're gonna have him win the Rumble in Philly again, that place is gonna riot.
Yeah, I think the only way you could get any kind of cheers after that is if it's like Roman wins the Royal Rumble, and then all of a sudden, hey, why is Sandman coming out of the arena and walking into the ring, and oh my god, he just hit Roman Reigns with a kendo stick, and now he's drinking beer.
Yep.
And then you'd get people cheering, but not for long.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So, yeah, back to Wrestle Kingdom. Then we went to the main match, or the main card. And the first match on the card was the Young Bucks, you know, them Jackson boys with their fancy super kick parties. Mm-hmm. Battling Roppongi 3K, or Roppongi 3000. Yeah, Show and Yo with Rocky Romero for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. And the Young Bucks are now a 7-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions.
Which I am very happy about. And quick fun fact, they posted on Twitter a picture. Apparently, their favorite restaurant to go to in Tokyo, TGI Fridays.
Oh,
and they went there afterwards, and I guess they got like a complimentary dessert of like a Sunday thing, and had written on the plate for them, congrats 7-time IWGP Junior Weight Tag Champions, the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick, like had all that written on a plate for them.
Christ.
And they're like, thanks to our favorite restaurant in Japan, TGI Fridays.
But the match itself was pretty good.
Oh yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I think my favorite part of that match, well, at least my favorite spot of the match, was when Nick grabbed, I don't remember which one, whether it was Yo or Show, in like a suplex, put his legs on the top rope, and Matt jumped off the top rope and did a swanton onto his back as he was being held up like that. I was like, that is very good. Mm-hmm. But that match overall was good. I loved the working on the back of both. I think it was Matt and one of the members of
and the commentators were Kevin Kelly, and I can't remember the other guy who was on there.
Don something. I can't remember his last name. He's on the podcast Killing the Town with Lance Storm.
Yeah, but they both did a really good job of talking about Matt and Nick have had their backs like destroyed over years of just careless flippy wrestling.
Yeah. And fun fact, all but I think 3 of the matches I watched with Japanese announcing.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, well, I watched it all with the American announcers, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched Omega Jericho. I watched Okada Naito, and I think the junior heavyweight title
4-way
match.
with Skrull and Ospreay.
I think I watched that the second time I watched it because I showed it to someone at work on my break. I was like, you know what? You haven't seen it. I'll show it to you. I think the second time I watched it, it had American announcing.
And we'll get to that match in a while. Then came the gauntlet match for the Never Openweight 6-man Tag Team Championship. It was Chaos, which was Trent Beretta, but he's now going as Beretta. Tomohiro Ishii and Toru Yano defeated the Bullet Club last, I think, was how it went. Because I really can't remember this match so much. But it did have its entertaining moments. It was Bullet Club, Bad Luck Fate, Tama Tonga, and Tongaloa, who were the champions. Mike Elgin and War Machine, Suzuki-gun, which was Taichi, Takashi Izuki, and Zack Sabre Jr., which I didn't know Zack Sabre Jr. was in Suzuki-gun. With El Desperado, Taka Michinoku, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. I'm having a hard time with these names. And Taguchi Japan, which is Juice Robinson. You guys might remember him as CJ Parker from NXT. Rusuke Taguchi and Togi Makabe. It was a good match. It was entertaining. There was nothing incredibly memorable that I remember. I remember Juice Robinson did well. Zack Sabre Jr., surprisingly, I feel like I don't remember him really doing much. And I was like shocked they really didn't do much. Beretta, of course, He's really good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
fun fact: I believe War Machine are heading over to WWE soon.
I've heard rumors about that.
Well, they've been stopping all of their bookings after Wrestle Kingdom, and after New Year's Rush. I think.
Here's hoping they don't get the Ascension treatment.
Well, I'm assuming they're going to NXT.
But they eventually got to go to the main roster.
True.
I'm hoping they don't get treated like the Ascension.
Yeah.
You guys dress up like the Road Warriors.
Maybe.
You can be the Road Warriors and get kicked and get beat up by guys that the Road Warriors would have destroyed 20 years after.
Me cry. Father call me Hawk. Father call Razor Animal. Make me sad. Make me cry.
The Book of Pain.
Yep.
So then after that, we had what I think was one of the best, hands down, one of the best matches on the card. It rivaled, good. I think it was my second favorite match of the entire night. Kota Ibushi versus Cody, don't call him Rhodes, the American Nightmare with Brandy Rhodes.
Yep. Cody and Brandy Rhodes.
Yes.
Is how he likes to be announced when he's coming out with Brandy.
I see what he did there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really good. Cody with that bleach blonde hair.
I love it.
Ibushi's good. Cody's good. Brandy's a pretty good manager, actually.
Yeah. It was a little awkward when she was coming down the ramp because I was just like, "You're trying too hard." And she's like, "I'm the most beautiful woman in wrestling."
That
and
was
if you
a little
don't think
awkward.
So, you're
a
stupid Mark. And I'm like, "Okay, you're leaning a little too hard into it there."
Yeah. You're going a little full meta. Don't go full meta.
Yeah. But I did love the spot when Ibushi did a planche over the top rope and took out both Cody and Brandy and went to pick her up.
Oh no!
Yeah, and Cody just decks him in the face.
And then she's like, "Ha! It worked! It worked!
Yeah,
we got you!
Smiling.
We got you!"
That
was great. That's what I was talking about with her.
Yeah,
with her heel stuff. I was like the stuff she did on the outside with Ibushi and fooling him and tricking him and all that stuff.
Was so good.
That was awesome. There's also that crossroads spot.
Oh god, to the outside of the ring from the apron.
And
Ibushi,
Ibushi almost got wrung out as a result.
Yeah.
That was
Ibushi,
nasty.
Who has had several neck issues and has had neck surgery in the past.
Yeah, not a big deal.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. He's fine. He's fine, right? He's fine. If we say he's fine enough times, he'll be fine.
That's how medicine always used to be. He's fine. I know he's bleeding, but he's fine. He's supposed to be bleeding right now.
You can't feel your legs. Don't worry. That's normal. That's natural. It'll wear off eventually when you die.
One day you won't have to worry about feeling your legs, and that's when we know you're kind of cured, I guess.
Oh, God. But yeah, that was a really, really good match. Fun fact, originally Ibushi was going to be Kenny Omega's opponent at Wrestle Kingdom before the whole Jericho thing happened.
And then that thing happened, and they were like, yes.
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 Are you sure he can do this? We won't have Vince McMahon showing up and like killing us in ritualistic sacrifice.
God damn it, Jericho. Get your ass back here.
Make sure that when you go over there, you get the blood of the bookers so that I can drink it in effigy and thus destroy
I can see it now.
New Japan.
He just walks in. Gato, you're fired. I don't work for you.
Work for you, Vince.
You're fired anyway. Get out of here. You came to my building.
I just imagine like Vince McMahon. And this is not me. Like, I don't legitimately think this before you guys go and say this. But I just imagine, like, with the whole Vince McMahon thing, I just imagine him sitting there, like, Jericho comes back, and he's like, did you get it? And Jericho just hands him a jar of, like, Gato's blood, and he, like, draws, like, pentagrams and, like, does some sort of sacrifice to get New Japan just ruined.
No, I could see it more like, did you get it? Yeah, here's a vial of Kenny's blood so you can clone him. Now I'm gonna mix Kenny Omega's blood with John Cena's
He tries
blood
to inject it into a voodoo doll, and he's like, now you'll sign the contract, Kenny.
Why am I signing the Applebee's table?
Don't you mean the TGI Fridays table?
Yeah,
there you go. Going full circle there. I went off on a tangent there. Anyway, Kota Ibushi versus Cody was really good. You guys should definitely watch it. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah. Kota beat Cody, so there we go. We just spoiled the ending for you if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Then we're going to move on to the IWGP Tag Team Championship match of Los Ingobernables de Japón, which was Evil and Sonata versus Killer Elite Squad, Davey Boy Smith Jr. versus Lance Archer. And you know what I thought? You know what I thought when I saw this match at first? I'm like, Davey Boy Smith Jr. still getting work.
He's been doing both pro wrestling and MMA.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's
like I didn't know that he was still like.
Oh yeah.
I knew he was still wrestling. I just didn't know he was still getting work in like New Japan and was like the champion, the IWGP Tag Team Champion. Like I was like surprised. I'm like, huh, Davey Boy Smith is still around. I wonder why WWE hasn't given him another look for the 4th or 5th time.
I don't know. I think he's just been focused a lot on not like he's been doing pro wrestling, but I think he's been focusing more on MMA than pro wrestling. But he still does it.
Okay. But yeah, Los Ingobernables de Japan, which is Evil and Sonata, they won that match, which I think is kind of the right call. I hear that Evil's been doing really, really good things for New Japan this year.
Yeah, I think they might be setting up a match for him for the world title.
Which I wouldn't be surprised. I think he actually did wrestle Okada. I don't know if it was for the title or not this year already.
Yeah, I think he
last
did.
year.
I don't know.
What did you think of the match overall?
I enjoyed it. I liked the flow of it, how it was the two big foreigners going and beating on them for a while and just like basically manhandling them, and then they managed to get the upper hand and use like all their agility and stuff and managed to get the win. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm. It was indeed really, really good. I'm just checking to make sure that our audio is doing well, which it did. So yeah, there was a good match. I wasn't like exactly wowed by it, but it wasn't like this is a bad match. It was fun. It was entertaining. It's entertaining. And I am curious to see more of Evil and see like how far he's come. So because I feel like while this match was good, this didn't exactly show to me like why he was like one of the top rising stars in New Japan this year. I feel like it was good, but it wasn't like, oh my god, this is why this guy is being like so heavily like hyped.
Yeah.
So I want to see. I may try to seek out more Evil matches this from the going forward this year, or maybe some matches from last year to see more about what everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
But then we go from the tag team match to the oh god, dear god, they're killing each other. Please stop the match. I think somebody is legitimately hurt. Stop. You're not stopping. Please stop.
Please stop. He's dead already.
Match of the Jesus Christ. Of the Never Openweight Championship match. It was a hair versus hair and no seconds death match between Hiroki Goto and Minoru Suzuki. Suzuki, the leader of Suzuki-gun, if you could not draw that conclusion.
Yeah.
Good lord, this was old school Japanese strong style at its finest.
And it started out with what I'm pretty sure was a concussion.
Refresh my memory. I cannot remember the first thing. All I remember when I see this match is just the palm strikes that Suzuki delivered to Goto towards the end of the match.
Yeah, well, the match started off with Goto. I don't think it was a headbutt, but I get a feeling like it was. I feel like it was like a really strong forearm or something. Just like right off the bat, just fucking hit Suzuki right in the head, and he just went down and was down for a while, and the ref kept checking.
Wasn't it? That was during their forearm exchange, wasn't it? We're like,
no,
Suzuki wasn't Suzuki, or I might be thinking of the wrong match. I might be thinking of Okada and Naito or something. But like, there was a forearm exchange in one of the matches where one person was getting hit so hard that when they literally went to try and like re-exchange, they were barely doing anything. And I'm like, oh, that person's hurt.
That was Okada and Naito.
Okay,
but yeah, there was the one like the match started off with Goto basically like laying out Suzuki. Or no, what it was is he like hit him really hard, and then he got him in like a sleeper hold in the turnbuckle and lifted him up, and Suzuki was just like out for like 5 minutes. And I was like, this is a great start to the match for someone maybe dead already. But it was a good match, and I really loved the post-match as well, of how Goto was being ushered out, and he was like, no, I'm sticking to this.
Yeah, like Suzuki-gun was trying to be like, we're getting him out of here, and he was like, no, I have to maintain my honor, and I have to like follow through on what I did. I know I'm a jerk and a heel, but I have to actually make good on this. And then he went and he personally shaved off his ponytail, which R.I.P. in peace, that hairstyle, because I like that hair. I like Suzuki's really cool, hairstyle, like the leopard print with the little ponytail.
You mean Goto? Yeah.
No, Suzuki is the one who lost. Goto won. That was Suzuki who had the crazy hairstyle.
Yeah.
Know your wrestlers.
I got confused. Sorry.
But yeah, good God, just I remember watching and being like, okay, this is strong, like Japanese strong style at its finest. Then there was that one point where like Suzuki just unloads with like palm strike on palm strike to go to Goto's chin, and I'm like, God, stop it! He's dead! He's dead! Stop! You've hurt him enough! You've done enough!
Exactly.
For the love of God, please! Don't hurt him anymore.
Yeah.
Just somebody lay down for the 3 count. It's okay. It's just a head of hair.
Just let it stop.
Oh, but man, was that a good match. And I'm like, that is why I was also kind of like, that was awesome. But that is also why you will never see Japanese strong style in WWE, because there would be lawsuits abound from all the CTE investigations 20 years later.
Well, that's why you only saw it really with Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn, because then Sami Zayn showed up at the Royal Rumble the next night covered in bruises, and I'm pretty sure Vince was like, no, we're not doing that.
No, that was Sami Zayn and Nakamura was the night before WrestleMania 32. I know because I was backstage in person for that.
So he showed up at WrestleMania then, because I know he showed up at a show the next night match. And was just covered in bruises, and I was like, poor Sami.
Yeah, it had to be the ladder match for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I remember that because I was working Access, and me and Sean went into, because Access was and the building, the arena where Takeover took place, they were connected. They were like the same building, the same convention center. So we finished our shift and we walked over to get something from one of our coworkers, and we decided to stick around for like 10-15 minutes just to watch a match, and we watched it was American Alpha versus the Revival when American Alpha finally won the tag titles.
Oh, nice.
So we watched that, and then we're like, okay, we have a crap ton of work to do. We have to leave, and we happened to leave while Shinsuke and Sammy was happening. So like we were literally walking away from the arena and had Shinsuke versus Sammy on our phones, and we're like, oh God, we have to work. Why can't we be in the arena for this?
It's always fun.
So Goto Suzuki, if you guys have never seen Japanese strong style wrestling, you want to know what it's all about, go watch Goto versus Suzuki, and then when it's all over, go cry in a corner.
Maybe call the police about murder. Saw murder in Japan live on TV.
And then bow your heads in a moment of silence for Suzuki's ponytail.
Yeah.
So that was that match. Then we move on to what it was also one of the best matches of the night, in my opinion, which was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship 4-way match.
This one might be my favorite.
It was pretty good.
I loved this match.
It was pretty good. It was very spotty, but it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. Everybody in this match is amazing, too, by the way.
Yeah.
We had Will Ospreay, Marty Scurll, who was the champion. Skrull. Yeah, Skrull.
Yeah,
I always say Skrull because of Skrulls with Marvel, and Skrull sounds very similar. But
I also would always say it because I have dyslexia and I would read it Skrull.
Yeah, I think I do that sometimes too. But yeah, Will Ospreay, Marty Scurll, who is the champion, Hiromu Takahashi, and Kushida. Which goddamn, Kushida had some spots with Ospreay and Skrull that were ridiculous. Yeah. With like the rolling around and the drop kicks, you know, that spot I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I was like, damn, Kushida's come a long way from being a member of he is now the Time Splitter, but he used to be one half of the Time Splitters tag team. Yeah. I remember, what was it, one of the first Wrestle Kingdoms I watched, I think it was 9 or 10, he came out with his tag partner, and he was dressed as Marty McFly. They came out in a DeLorean, and his tag team partner was dressed as Doc Brown.
Nice.
Which is why, like, when it says, like, he's the Time Splitter or whatever, you'll see, like, they've got the Back to the Future kind of lettering. It's like, man, Kushida's come a long way, and like, he's gonna be. I feel like Kushida's gonna be somebody at New Japan.
The one thing that I had to say that upset me about this match, the only thing is, at least the first half of the match, anytime Takahashi got in the ring at all, he just ate shit. And just like got knocked the fuck
But he looked
out.
great while doing it, though.
Yeah, but it took like half a match for him to finally get some offense, and it just made me feel bad. Well,
technically it's his own fault because the match started and he was like, okay, you guys have fun, I'm stepping outside.
No, that was Skrull.
Oh, it was Skrull. God damn it.
Yeah, the match started.
Oh yeah, the match started with Skrull stepping outside, and then Takahashi just got nailed
out by Kushida. And from there, it was like every time Takahashi got in the ring, it was like someone kicking him in the face and knocking him down.
Yeah,
and he got like a couple moves of offense, and it wasn't until he got himself free from being taped to the barricade that he finally got a good amount of offense.
I loved the Cheeky Nando's kick spots, by the way.
Yeah,
that one spot where Ospreay pulled in Kushida, Cheeky Nando's kicked him, went to do something on the turnbuckle, then Skrull, Cheeky Nando's kicked him, tried to do something, that Ospreay got out of it, and then eventually Cheeky Nando's kicked him.
So good. I love Skrull. Mm-hmm. He's so good.
His entrance, though,
It was so good with the wings and everything.
Yeah, the black wings were amazing. The wingspan, like it was huge. They looked legit. And I also just love his whole Renaissance, like evil, like Renaissance, almost like Plague era doctor mask that he wears when he comes to the ring too.
Yeah, it's a Plague Doctor mask.
Yeah, the Plague Doctor masks.
I love that he wears that, and I love how he's basically like a cool British version of the Penguin that's a cooler bird than a penguin in terms of being a villain.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that he was doing all the... Well, he didn't do a lot in the match, but I love the work he did with everyone's fingers in the match with the drug manipulation.
His whole breaking the fingers.
Yeah, oh, God.
Yeah, and like, I need to figure out, like, he must make a hard slap with his forearm.
Yeah,
or
I
something.
watched it. What it was is, because he's not wearing a shirt, he holds it like this, and he goes like that, where his elbows slap into his
elbows make a lot
side,
of noise.
Yeah.
Because
it sounds
the
like
slap
it
he
snaps.
makes when he does that. Yeah, it sounds like he's snapping the fingers, and it's brutal. It's like, I know that's not what you're doing, but I'm still cringing.
Yeah,
I know that's not what's really happening, but I'm just like, ugh.
And I did love the fact that Kushida did that to him, and then the next time you see him in the match, he's grabbing a first aid kit and taping up his fingers,
which caused problems for Omega and Jericho later
on.
Wheelchair Gamer says that he never watched Wrestle Kingdom, but may have to from what we were describing.
It's so good.
I highly recommend it. Like, I am a casual New Japan fan. I wish I had the time to watch more of it, but like, I always make sure that I watch Wrestle Kingdom because I think Wrestle Kingdom is one of the best annual shows. One of the best wrestling shows of the year every single year. Like, it's up there with WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'd say at the very least, if you're going to watch any matches, the 3 that you should watch at the bare minimum are this match we're talking about now, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match, the Omega versus Jericho, Alpha versus Omega, and Okada versus Naito.
And I would also throw in Ibushi Cody.
Oh, that too. And I would also throw in Young Bucks versus Roppongi 3000. They're like pretty much every match on the card, at least all the matches I watched, did not disappoint. They might not have been the greatest matches, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching every match I did on that show.
Yep. And Ospreay had that, going back to the match, Ospreay had that really sick moonsault spot, which was something else that this match caused a lot of problems for Omega and Jericho, looking back on it. Because Omega and Jericho...
planned on doing that.
Yeah, planned on doing it. We'll mention it...
when we get to it.
When we get to it, but like Jericho and Omega did a podcast together after the match and talked about everything, and they mentioned how like they had planned for Omega to basically just one step up onto the scaffolding and moonsault onto Jericho, and as they're going over it, as they're driving to like the stage, because they're getting driven like a little like buggy van thing, one of the Young Bucks who's with them is like, yeah, Ospreay just did that.
Yeah.
They're like, well, crap. So yeah, Ospreay, like, he didn't jump up, but he climbed up to the scaffolding while everybody was fighting each other and then moonsaulted onto all 3 of them.
And Wheelchair Gamer, I'll just let you know, the way I found it is I just basically went to Google and just typed in Wrestle Kingdom 12 and did a search of videos for it, and I found a site
officially, you're supposed to go to New Japan World.
Yeah.
And... which is their website, and sign up for their streaming service, which is like WWE Network. But there may be ways that you can get around that.
Also, here's
like
something
watching
else.
it without doing that.
I plan on trying to watch this show again at one point because of the fact that this last Saturday, Jim Ross and Josh Barnett did their recording of their announcing for the show, and they
did their own separate commentary,
like how they normally do for when they show it on Access, and it's going to be shown on Access TV with their announcing to it. So
I gotta
if you got access,
I gotta find that. Not that Kevin Kelly and Dom didn't do a good job, but like Jim Ross, I remember watching Jim Ross do Wrestle Kingdom 10, I think it was 10 or 11, when it was Okada versus Tanahashi. And they spent the entire match. Jim Ross spent the entire match building up Okada's dropkick, and it was like the perfect example of an announcer letting the viewer be aware of how important something is in wrestling and adding to it. Because when Okada hit that beautiful dropkick that he does, which is practically a signature for him, for anybody else, a dropkick is like a random move. For Okada, it's a signature, and Jim Ross made everybody believe and let everybody know how special it was. So when you saw that beautiful drop kick, I have never popped for a drop kick like that before in my life, but Jim Ross made me do so, and that's just how good Jim Ross is as an announcer. But like Kevin Kelly and Dom did a good job of doing that.
Yes.
For certain things at Wrestle Kingdom, as we mentioned, like the Young Bucks' backs in their tag match and stuff such as that. Wheelchair Gamer, thank you so much for the follow, by the way. So appreciate that you came and found us, and are gonna go check out Wrestle Kingdom.
And here's one thing I want to point out though, with the results of the match that we've been talking about.
One quick thing before you do that, because I want to talk on the announcer thing. One of the good things that Kevin Kelly and Dom did in this match was they built up the fact that Ospreay had never beaten Skrull before, and that Kushida has been beating him a lot recently as well.
Yeah.
So they really tried to stack the fact that Ospreay had these two big obstacles to overcome. Yeah. I'll let you continue.
So Ospreay, as we've been alluding to, ended up winning the match. He pinned Skrull, to win after the Os Cutter. And now we have history being made. I'll bring up another match that's coming up soon, but we have 2 bits of history being made with in wrestling coming up in, I believe, both in England in the next coming weeks. The first one, which I believe is next week or sometime this week, is for the first time since the 80s, we're going to see an IWGP champion face a WWE champion in a ring. We're getting IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Will Ospreay versus WWE United Kingdom Champion Pete Dunne in a match. First time since Hogan versus Muta in the 80s that we're getting that. And also, a little bit of a side note, quick little side thing. Did you hear that there's a new Impact Wrestling champion?
Why do I feel like I'm afraid of what you're gonna say based on the way they introduced it? Is it Bobby Lashley?
No, it is
EC3?
It is a new member to Impact. Well, technically an old person who's returned.
Hogan?
If only. No, good old, not double A Arn Anderson, but A double Austin Aries came back to Impact and won. And so
Austin Aries is racking up the championships because he just won the Defiant Championship, which is what Culture Pro Wrestling has been rebranded to.
He's going to be challenging for another championship. He's going to be wrestling at Destiny Wrestling for the Destiny Championship. And this is the first time ever an Impact champion Austin Aries will be facing a WWE champion Pete Dunne in a match. So within like the next couple weeks, we're going to have first time in 20 years an IWGP champion versus a WWE champion, and the first time ever an Impact champion versus a WWE champion in history going on very soon. What a time to be alive in wrestling.
I want Austin Aries to take that take an Ultimo Dragon-esque picture once he wins all of the titles now that he's no longer in WWE.
Yeah, basically.
Which, again, it's a shame. I heard that Austin Aries had a bad attitude backstage. I met Austin Aries once. When I was working in WWE, I met him backstage at WrestleMania 32. He was with Bobby Roode. They both happened to sit at the same table that I was at in catering, and they were just nice. It was a little awkward because we didn't know each other, and they introduced themselves, and I introduced myself, and then we just ate. So it wasn't like I instantly bonded with these guys, but he was polite and nice to me. But it's a shame that he apparently had a reputation of having a bad attitude backstage, and it's a shame that they didn't see what they had in him.
Seriously.
And tried to do something more with him. I thought for sure they were gonna have him win the Cruiserweight Championship, and then once he was done with this thing with them, we'll move him on to the main roster and do more things with him. But I'm glad that he's having more success outside of WWE, which isn't too much of a surprise though.
Yeah, he's so good.
Mm-hmm. Wheelchair Gamer said that good announcers make fights better. They build the excitement for sure. You can tell the difference between a good announcer and a bad one. That's very true.
Yeah, like Corey Graves and Dave Otunga.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
it's fair.
Graves is very good.
Yeah,
Otunga not so much.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on.
Yes, moving on. We got to move on from the four-way, which was a great match. One of the best matches. Before we do, though, real quick, Wheelchair Gamer asked if we like UFC or boxing. I do enjoy UFC when I can catch it. I try to watch like the bigger events, the bigger names. I don't really watch it religiously. I'm not like a big UFC fan, but I enjoy UFC. I like to buy the video games, play the video games. I like to watch the big matches and the big events when I can. And boxing, not so much anymore. Like I don't really watch. I used to watch boxing, but I feel like it's become it's not as good as it used to be. I feel like there's not as many good athletes, and I feel like UFC is the better martial arts or fighting competition.
Yeah, I don't really get to watch anything other than the small amount of wrestling I do due to my ridiculous schedule and everything.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy UFC.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get to watch it much, but I do enjoy what I do see when I do get to watch it.
Yes. Moving on to our next match. This was the one match that I say I was disappointed in, and I did not really like that much.
I enjoyed it.
Which was Hiroshi Tanahashi, who is Japanese John Cena, as people like to call him. He is New Japan's version of John Cena, pretty much, except instead of doing "You Can't See Me," he plays air guitar. I said that last week. He defeated Jay White, Switchblade, for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. And like I've said before, I'm not really the biggest fan of Jay White. I don't know. His looked like he was like a poor man's Kenny Omega. I said that last week as well.
I think so. I think
and the fact that what happened right afterwards kind of like almost drives home the fact. Like I felt like I'm like, is this guy a member of the Bullet Club? Like, who is this guy? Like, I've never seen him before. I haven't heard any hype about him. I haven't heard any news about him. And I'm like, he's going up against Tanahashi. So if he's going up against Tanahashi, he must be good. And I was expecting like if he's going up against Tanahashi, like the matches I see at Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom, they are balls to the wall amazing. So I was expecting something really good, and I was like, eh.
I didn't think it was amazing, but I thought it was a good match. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I like him. I think he's a damn good wrestler. It might not have been a great match, but you can see his work is solid. And you have to remember, he's not that old. He's still really young. He looks young.
Well, apparently he's a young lion. Like, he just went from being a New Japan young lion to like a roster member like this year.
Yeah, and he's that good when he's that young and everything.
Yeah,
there's good chance for him.
Maybe it's more like more of my like expectations versus reality thing, because I'm like, oh, Tanahashi's in a match. This should be really good. This should be like main event caliber, like one of the best matches of the night, and it wasn't. And I guess I was like, well, it can't be Tanahashi because Tanahashi is Tanahashi. It must be Jay White.
I don't think it was either of them. I think it was more of the way you see it in a lot of cards where it was meant to be a good match, but not on that kind of level, because you just had the Fatal 4-Way match. After that was Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. You need a little bit of a cool-down match where it wasn't as good as those matches, but it was still a good, enjoyable match. It was a good, solid match, which is what I liked out of it. And which, fun fact, no, Jay White is not a member of the Bullet Club, as I mentioned to you before the show started. He was offered to be put in the Bullet Club the next day, and he basically refused it. Yeah. But from what I understand, Okada introduced him to Chaos.
Oh boy!
So looks like he's running around.
Oh yeah, because Okada's a member of Chaos, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, there's so many I will say it is a little confusing, but I do like that about New Japan. Exactly. I love the factions in New Japan.
Which is one thing I've been saying WWE should do is
but
factions.
Vince hates factions.
And it boggles my mind because that's what made the Attitude Era so good.
Yeah. And that's what's making New Japan so good. You've got Chaos, you've got Los Ingobernables, you've got the Bullet Club. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then and you got Suzuki-gun. That's another one in there.
Suzuki-gun, yeah.
But anyway, that was the Intercontinental Championship match for the IWGP. I wasn't too big on it.
I enjoyed it.
He enjoyed it, but that was the only match I really wasn't that big on, or felt disappointed by.
And one thing that I'll also point out is if you look at the numbers, it was a shorter match than other matches too.
Yeah, that's true. Then we're going to move on to what I feel was match of the night. The dream match, which everybody was like, this should be good. The hype is amazing, but is it going to live up to the hype? And oh, yes, it did.
Oh, yeah.
People are calling it the best match of Chris Jericho's career.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I don't know if I would go that far.
Yeah.
But it could be.
It was a very good match.
It very well could be. And that was Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. The Alpha versus the Omega.
So good.
And I will just touch on real quick in chat, Paul Heyman guy, your dark blue 1989. Your dark blue is messing with the dark theme of the chat that we've got. Asking who's ready for the, I believe he meant 25th anniversary of Raw. We're ready. We're gonna get into that once we finish up with Wrestle Kingdom. Now, Omega, Jericho. I want to get your thoughts first.
I thought it was very good. There was only one thing that I had an issue with, which it's such a minor thing, but it's something that I saw that and be like, oh, come on. Which is when Jericho got knocked through the table.
I liked it.
I liked it, But the thing I didn't like is if you watch it the way I did, he gets hit and he leans back and he holds on and he hesitates and then goes through.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Which,
I can understand
no, I
because
can
Japanese
understand.
tables are a lot thicker and they do not break as easily.
True, I understand, but I'm just saying, like, that was the only thing where I was just like, if he just fell back and let go, it would have been perfect.
And I'm pretty sure the laceration that was on his hip towards the end, I'm pretty sure that was from the table.
Yeah. But, yeah, I love that. And I loved the whole part where the chair had fallen apart, but he held it and hit Omega and let it fly off.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I saw that. I saw him reach for it and start to fall, and he grabbed the chair and then just hit, and like, I'm like, oh, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. I also really liked their shenanigans outside the ring by the announcer's table when he started like beating up like the referee's son or whatever, who's a young lion.
Yeah. I also thoroughly enjoyed Kenny Omega going to do a crossbody and just eating it through a table.
Yeah. Also,
sorry I messed up your equipment, Dom.
Yeah. Also, one thing that I really liked that was probably one of my, it wasn't obviously one of the best like dramatic or amazing or oh my god moments of the match, but I think it was one of the best moments period of the match was when Jericho hit the lion salt.
Yeah. And
the crowd popped huge for it, which was amazing, which if you guys don't know your wrestling history too well, when Jericho was in New Japan, he was the Lionheart Chris Jericho. He had just come from Mexico, and the lion salt was his finisher, not the Walls of Jericho or the Lion Tamer.
And that's one other thing that happened in the match that I thoroughly enjoyed was Jericho. Well, first I'll point out Jericho getting Kenny Omega in the Walls of Jericho and Omega grabbing the rope and the referee trying to tell him to get off and counting, and he just yells, "It's no DQ, jackass!" But also, how later in the match, I loved that.
It was hilarious.
I also loved the sequence where he got Omega in the Walls of Jericho. And Omega went to reach ropes, and he pulled him away and transitioned into the Lion Tamer. And then when he started going towards the ropes again, transitioned back into the Walls of Jericho. I loved that.
Yeah. It was really good. It was really good. Yeah. I dug the match. I liked how they were able to keep the fact that nobody has kicked out of the one winning angel, yet they gave Jericho the Okada treatment and let him grab the rope.
Yeah. That was nice.
At the very last possible moment. And
then he ate a one-winged angel onto his chair.
Yeah. After he had the chair thrown onto his back, which that was one awkward thing, was like the finish that went towards the one-winged angel was Jericho went for the lion salt, and Kenny, which was hilarious, threw the chair at Jericho's back. But I didn't understand, like, why did Jericho hold onto the ropes and not just fall back and back bump it?
Because I think it was supposed to be like he went to do it and got hit. And that was another thing that was kind of like, I think the idea was like he was going to get hit and then like slump over the rope, kind of caught like that, but he just kind of got hit and just kind of stayed there.
Mm-hmm. It was awkward, but that's the only really thing I noticed that I could really complain about this match. All of the chair shots, throwing Kenny repeatedly into the chair and causing Kenny to bleed.
Using the spray.
Mm-hmm. The spray was amazing. I was like, oh, that's great. What a callback. And I loved Omega selling it like he used to, where he sprayed his pits and then he sprayed down his pants and then did the whole like, that was amazing. Funny story. Omega and Okada mentioned or Jericho and Omega mentioned in the Jericho's podcast that like when Kenny went to go get the spray, they had put it in boxes they had set up to be like right underneath the ring. But they went to the one corner where when Skrull was doing stuff with his match, he grabbed a med kit that was next to it in order to tape up his fingers to sell the fact that he had his fingers broken.
Yeah, and get the powder out of it.
And it knocked the spray down. So that's why when you see that spot, Kenny is really crawling almost practically out of the ring to try and find the can.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good match overall. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it was a great match. Mm-hmm. And
I will say one last thing. One of my favorite parts of the entire match, which led into the Walls of Jericho, into the Lion Tamer, into the Walls of Jericho, was how that happened.
Yeah. How
Omega went for the one-wing angel, and Jericho took the momentum and rolled with it right into the Walls of Jericho. I was like, oh my god. I think my nipples got hard there. Don't chop me. No chops. That's only gonna make them harder. But no, that was such a good spot. I was like, oh my god! Like my mind, I had a little like mind blown moment there for a second when that happened.
Yeah, it was a really good match. I was thoroughly impressed with it.
But match of the night, Okada won, which is clearly or Omega won, which was clearly the right decision.
Yeah.
Um,
Although,
and man,
can I point out something that I'm hoping for? Although I doubt it'll happen.
what?
I'm hoping now that he's wrestled Jericho, that he's more likely to head towards WWE. And I know that I heard somewhere that part of the reason that got Cody into the match with Coda, I heard somewhere that it was something involving Cody being somewhat involved in the storyline with Kenny over who is the true leader of the Bullet Club. And I'm hoping that they might do something where it leads to Kenny maybe losing the U.S. title, and especially after, because, little spoiler alert, the night after this show, Wrestle Kingdom, at New Year's Dash, Kenny Omega said that what the Bullet Club needs is Switchblade, Jay White, and he had him come out and gave him a shirt and like made him part of the Bullet Club, and then Jay White just attacked Kenny and threw the shirt at him and everything and like rejected it. I'm hoping between doing that, and then if Kenny loses the US title, that Cody will come out and be like, you clearly don't know what's best for this group and everything, and lead to a match between Cody and Kenny to determine who's the leader of the Bullet Club, and whoever loses gets kicked out, and Cody wins, and then Kenny's like, oh hey WWE,
maybe we'll see.
Is this the WrestleManias I hear about? Thank you for welcoming to the WrestleManias.
I want to see Kenny in WWE, definitely, especially since he's 34 now. He's not getting any younger. But
like Rude is, or Jericho is what?
Yeah, no, and AJ Styles is also 40. But like, my thing is like, Kenny wants to do right by the wrestling business and not just by WWE. And he seems very much loyal to New Japan. So I was always like, yeah, he's loyal to New Japan. He'll come over eventually. Like, I'm really starting to wonder if he will ever come to WWE. Well, I think he'll come to WWE eventually, but I just don't know if it's going to be soon.
Yeah.
It's going to be right now. He is like white hot. He's the hottest thing in wrestling. He doesn't need WWE.
No, he doesn't need
to do it.
But and he's got a pretty penny from them.
Yeah, but I think the question is, does Kenny see the potential in certain matches in WWE that he can't get through New Japan, because he changed the way the business is done with Jericho? So like, who knows, maybe he'll be able to get matches with other wrestlers or other WWE guys as soon as they leave and stuff like that. But I mean, so like, maybe there's less incentive for him to want to go there. But that's the thing, like, how badly does he want to have matches with certain guys in WWE? How badly does he want to be in WrestleMania, have a WrestleMania moment? Those are, I think, the two things that will determine whether or not Kenny goes to WWE soon.
Yeah, I think the main thing is, because he's been offered it by WWE in the past, I think the main thing that he's looking for is to not get the treatment of certain people, like, let's say, Adam Cole.
Or Finn Balor.
And more of a treatment of
I think he wants to be treated I think he wants to be treated like AJ if he comes in. He goes straight to the main roster, everybody knows who he is, and he gets pushed to the moon.
Exactly. And I think if WWE's smart, they would do that.
Yeah.
But we'll wait and see.
We'll have to see. Yeah. We've still got one more match to go through Wrestle Kingdom before we move on, which is the main event, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship of Kazuchika Okada versus Tetsuya Naito. And this was a match.
I enjoyed it.
It was a match. It was a thing with a championship, and it was good. I don't think it wasn't as good as I think Omega Jericho. I have a hard time ranking it after that. It definitely was the best match of the night, but it was damn good. It was really good. It wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be.
I thought it was up there for match of the night. I thought it was really good because I loved how back and forth that match was.
Oh, it was back and forth.
Because, I mean, with Omega and Jericho, it was more of, okay, Jericho has control for now, and then, okay, Kenny has control for a while. But with this match, it was, this person will have control for a while, and then they'll quickly go back and forth of, like, reversals and things. And I just really loved how, like, they showed these two are so evenly matched.
Yeah.
And the technical aspect of the match was beautiful in that sense. Mm-hmm. I thoroughly enjoyed the match because it was these two giving it all to try and get that top prize in the business.
I think maybe it's just, I've seen Okada in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom for the last few years, and I think maybe it didn't match up to like what he's done in the last few years. So maybe that's why I'm not saying it was a bad match. It was amazing. I loved the match. I'm just saying I think I have Jericho and Omega as higher than that. I think that one was better. But Okada and Naito is in competition. If it's not my second favorite match of the night, it's definitely my third.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time deciding between the Fatal 4-Way, Omega and Jericho, and Okada and Naito. They were all so good.
But one thing I remember most about this match was that mean-ass kick Okada gave to Naito on the outside.
Oh, yeah.
That big boot that almost turned Naito inside out. And the one other thing that I remember the most is just the end. I love how I don't know if it's like a New Japan thing or if maybe it's an Okada thing. It's funny because like almost 20 minutes into a match, like Okada will hit a Rainmaker and you're like, I know this isn't over. We've now entered crazy finisher insaneness mode.
Yeah.
Like, this is when people start kicking out of finishers, reversals get crazy, people start hitting each other insanely hard, and it's like, okay, this is when, like, the match has been really good. This is when we start saying, holy crap, every single spot.
This is when they hit nitrous.
Pretty much. And, yeah, I loved the story, and I loved the way that it built towards the finishes. I loved that they were teasing the tombstones. I loved how, when it got to the end, they were like, okay, one's not going to do it. I need to hit like a crap ton of stuff in a row in order to win this match.
Yeah.
And so the finish was basically like Okada hitting the tombstone, then hitting a Rainmaker, then holding on to Naito and being like, I need to hit him again. I need to hit him again. Hits Naito with goes to hit Naito with the second Rainmaker. Naito ducks it, hits his finisher, and then is immediately like, that's not going to be enough. Immediately picks him back up. He's like, I got to hit it again real quick. Tries to be quick with it. But I guess because he picked him up enough in time and the logic of the match, that was enough time for Okada to like wake himself up because he was in a standing position. Goes for a finisher. Okada catches him in the middle. Tombstone picks him up. Rainmaker. End.
Yeah,
it was so awesome. So goddamn good. And I also loved how Naito kicked out of the Rainmaker, and then when he hit his finisher the first time, he was so spent from the match so far and taking the Rainmaker already that he couldn't even like move, like get up, like not even like roll to see if he could try to pin. Just had to lay there just in exhaustion.
I'm waiting to see someone now. I just have to point this out. In a situation like that, doing more or less what Kevin Owens did at WrestleMania of how he saved himself with one finger. I'm waiting to see someone just be like, to pin someone.
Yeah.
And get a
1, 2.
Like, like that's all I can manage.
That would actually be a pretty good spot. Pretty creative and pretty thoughtful.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So that was the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 12. Any final thoughts on this match or on the show as a whole?
It was good.
Yeah, it was good. Wrestle Kingdom delivered once again.
Yes.
It was hard for it to follow up last year with Omega Okada, but it still delivered. It was still a very good Wrestle Kingdom. This is one thing I can say about Wrestle Kingdom that I cannot say about WrestleMania. I have never been disappointed by a Wrestle Kingdom. There may be a match or two where I was like, yeah, that wasn't too good, or I was kind of disappointed by that. But as a show as a whole, I've never been disappointed by a Wrestle Kingdom. And there have been WrestleManias where I was kind of disappointed by them.
Yeah, same.
So.
I mean, Orton, Wyatt.
Yep. And then this wasn't Roman's fault, but Roman Undertaker was very disappointing and upsetting.
Yeah, it's true.
And then the year before that, you had Roman beating Triple H to close things out. So.
With Steph getting speared through a table.
That part was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Wrestle Kingdom 12.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going to transition back from New Japan to where we normally do our wrestling talk, and that is the world of WWE. So tell us what's going on in the world of WWE.
The first thing I will bring up, if my phone, there we go, will allow me to, is all the teams have been announced for WWE's Mixed Match Challenge, which I believe starts this upcoming Tuesday on Facebook Watch. And they've revealed the brackets, so I will read off the brackets as to what we're going to see. The first week, I guess they're doing one match per week, and it's going to be 12 weeks. The first match is going to be the teams of Finn Balor and Sasha Banks versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Natalya.
Okay.
So that's going to be good. Second week is going to be the team of The Miz and Asuka versus Big E and Carmella. The third week is going to be Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss versus Sami Zayn and Becky Lynch.
Oh, poor Becky and Sammy.
Yeah. The fourth week, we'll have Goldust and Alicia Fox versus Jimmy Uso and Naomi. The fifth week, we'll have Elias and Bailey versus Lana and Rusev. And then the sixth week, we'll have Apollo Crews and Nia Jax versus Bobby Roode and Charlotte Flair. And the one thing
Who's facing Bobby Roode and Charlotte Flair? Missed that real quick.
Apollo Crews and Nia Jax.
Sucks to be them.
Yep. But the one thing I will point out is that for the semifinals of the tournament, the 11th week, so the week before the finals, the match will be between, I believe, whoever is still around at that point, and a second chance fan vote to determine. Because I believe it'll be the first and second week matches. Yeah, the way the card is set up is it'll basically be whoever wins between whichever team comes out successful between Elias, Bailey, Rusev, Lana, Cruz, Nia, and Rude Flair will face another team that's been eliminated that gets a fan vote for a second chance in the semifinals.
Interesting way to do it.
Yeah, but it looks interesting, and the teams are interesting. Not what I would have guessed, but it'll be interesting, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'll talk very briefly about NXT. Quick roundup of what happened there this week. The main things you need to know is Dakota Kai, one of my favorite female superstars in NXT right now, injured because Shayna Baszler just destroyed her elbow in her first match.
Yeah, you were
NXT.
telling me about that.
Like, if you want to go look it up, I'll just warn you, it's gross. Like, you see her elbow bend. Yeah, you see her elbow bend in ways that shouldn't, and like it really upset me to see that. And then she choked her out afterwards, and Ember Moon came out for the save and all that. But there was also a match announced for next week on NXT, which will feature the Street Profits versus the Authors of Pain, in which whoever wins that match, it will determine the number one contenders for the NXT titles at NXT Philly. Lars Sullivan said that he wants to fight Killian Dane, and there was supposed to be an NXT tag title match between Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly of Undisputed Era against two members of Sanity, but before that, they kind of took out Sanity, so they weren't able to compete, and so William Regal made a match of instead of it being Sanity challenging for the titles, it was Roderick Strong and Aleister Black as a tag team challenging for the titles. Undisputed Era retained. They beat the crud out of Aleister Black after the match. And then the big news is William Regal came out and told Adam Cole, well, you know, your match against Aleister Black is going to be in Philly, which has a tendency to get extreme. So at NXT TakeOver Philly, your match with Aleister Black is an Extreme Rules match.
Oh, yeah.
So
Let's do it.
Right now, the card for TakeOver Philly is looking like possibly Killian Dane versus Lars Sullivan. Either the Street Profits or Authors of Pain versus Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. I'm hoping for the Street Profits there. I'm guessing it might be Authors of Pain, but I'm hoping for Street Profits there.
Probably Authors of Pain, yeah.
Yeah. Aleister Black versus Adam Cole in an Extreme Rules match. And Johnny Gargano versus Andrade Cien Almas for the NXT Championship, which I am so looking forward to that match.
Wait, who is it who's facing Andrade?
Johnny Gargano. Do you not remember that?
Oh, yes. Derp.
I'm getting
Derp. Brain fart.
Real excited for NXT TakeOver Philly.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be so good.
I so cannot wait for the moment that Ciampa comes and screws over Johnny Gargano.
Yeah. Well, I'm starting to
Everybody knows it's coming, but it needs to happen.
I'm starting to wonder, will he screw over Johnny, or will he let Johnny win and then attack Johnny? Because then, hey, I get a title match now, right?
Right. That would be cool.
Yeah. But, I mean, regardless, it's going to be so good, and I'm so excited for it.
Yeah. And that's happening the night before Royal Rumble, right? So that'll be a week from tomorrow, right? A week from Saturday?
Something like that.
Oh, that is fast. That came up quick. I was like, the Royal Rumble and TakeOver is so far away. It's like, oh God, it's happening soon. Yeah. We know what else is happening soon.
Oh, it's, I believe, 2 weeks from tomorrow, actually.
2 weeks from tomorrow? Okay, yes, so we got a little bit of time.
Because, fun fact, a week from tomorrow is my wife's birthday. So. Fun
Happy early birthday to her.
Yes. But,
So
yeah, Raw 25th anniversary is coming up.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
And I know 2 people who are confirmed to be there, so it's going to be a hell of a show.
I know a ton of people that are confirmed to be there as far as legends.
Well, I can remember 2.
Okay.
And those are probably 2 of the biggest names in the company.
I'm sure you're gonna name the ones that I'm thinking of.
And
I'll list the rest.
Those are the one that everyone knows about, The Undertaker.
Yep. People think, oh my God, Undertaker's gonna be there. That means he's coming back.
And the most recent announced one, which they just announced, I think it was yesterday, Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to be
Stone Cold.
Exactly.
Yeah. The Raw 25th anniversary. It's going to be an interesting hell of a show. I'm definitely going to have to watch it. Basically, like it's happening at the Manhattan Center where Raw originally debuted and the Barclays Center simultaneously. So like segments are going to be happening at the Manhattan Center, then it's going to go and switch over to Barclays Center. So it's going to be really interesting to see like what things happen at which venue.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. I wonder if they're going to try and do something where like one person goes from one venue to the other. Obviously, I think whatever happens to them at one venue might be pre-taped, or it's like, okay, let's get them the hell over there, which good luck they would probably be
They'd have to open and end the show.
Yeah. I was going to say, you better start the show there because God knows traffic from Manhattan to Brooklyn will be brutal.
Yeah. Get out of my way. I have to do the 25th anniversary of Raw.
So that's going to be an interesting thing. And in addition to Stone Cold and Undertaker being there, there's going to be a slew of people there. I'm going to try to remember them all off the top of my head. The Dudley Boys will be there.
Okay.
D-Generation X as a whole will be there, I believe. So that means
nice.
Shawn Michaels, Triple H, the New Age Outlaws, and X-Pac.
That'll be very interesting, seeing as how they kind of fired Billy Gunn.
Yeah, I guess he's off the juice, so they're just like, he's fine for one day.
Well, I mean, he was doing training down at NXT, and then
he was a trainer, and then they fired him because he was juicing.
Yeah, but whatever.
Anyway, they also confirmed. You made me lose my train of thought. I mentioned DX. I mentioned the Dudley Boys. Both Bellas will be there. And people think that the Bella twins both being there might mean that they're going to announce they're going to be in the Women's Royal Rumble. Should be interesting. Hey, Nikki and Brie got good.
Not that great.
They got good.
They got good, but
They
they did not get to that level.
All right.
That
anyway,
as
I'm still going,
but I'm just saying also compared to the other names, woo, the Bellas with DX and Stone Cold and all them. And
can I finish? Can I finish reading off the rest of the list before you?
Can I finish?
Criticizing them?
Can I
finish? I'm not finished. No, I'm not finished. But I am finished. But I'm not. Anyway, so we got recapping again before I was interrupted. We got the Bellas. We've got the Dudley Boys. We've got D-Generation X, which means Shawn Michaels will be there. All of DX. We've got Scott Hall and Kevin Nash will be there.
What a surprise!
Yep.
Not Hulk Hogan.
I was watching. Hulk Hogan hasn't been announced yet, but it's rumored they might be there.
Okay.
The Godfather will be there. I'm trying to remember.
That's how they're all getting to the arena, is the Ho Train.
The Sergeant Slaughter will be there. JR and Jerry Lawler will be there. I'm trying to remember who else will be there. Let me see if I can get a full list. But one person who is not mentioned, who I think might be a surprise, who isn't Hogan, is The Rock. Rock was not mentioned on that list of people who would be there.
What a surprise if The Rock were to show up.
I think they don't want to. I think he's got to be there because he's The Rock, and I know he's very busy with all of his Hollywood stuff. But I feel like he would make time for the 25th anniversary of Raw, and I think the only reason why they're not announcing him is so that way we can get that amazing pop from the Barclays Center or the Manhattan Center. He'll probably be in the Barclays Center.
Yeah, like they've done
when he shows up.
When they're just like, oh hey, by the way, The Rock.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna really quickly try to jot my memory with legends, and see who else will be here. Yeah. Here's that's a poll. That's not what I want. Here we go. Here's a list from. Wow, the list actually doesn't actually have a full list. It actually just talks about it.
An article, yeah.
Yeah, a list of legends coming. Let's see. We've also got John Cena is apparently one of the legends coming to Raw.
Yes, he's a legend.
Mm-hmm. And this ad just popped up right in my way with no way to exit out. There we go. Now it's gonna get gone. Who else is here? I think. Yeah, here we go. Here's a full list. So we got Ric Flair. John Cena is obviously going to be there in addition to Austin and Undertaker. Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, as I mentioned, Triple H, as I mentioned, the Dudley Boys, as I mentioned, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, as I mentioned, the New Age Outlaws, as I mentioned, Booker T will be there, JBL will be there, and Ron Simmons will be there. Also, we will be getting the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, which is really cool. The Boogeyman, Teddy Long, Holla players. He's going to make some tag team matches.
I see you skipped over a name there.
Yes, I did. I'm going to get back to it eventually. Johnny Laurinaitis.
You know,
the crowd goes mild.
You know why he's showing up, though, right?
So, because CM Punk's coming back?
Because he's the stepfather of the Bellas.
He is?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
He married the Bella's mom.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep.
He's going to bring people power. Sergeant Slaughter, as I mentioned, the Bella Twins, and Brother Love will also be there.
Yay!
Which is very, very interesting.
What's wrong with Brother Love?
He's very critical of WWE.
So?
I'm just saying, it's going to be interesting that he's going to be on a WWE show. So.
He'll probably go rogue.
Yeah, that is the full list of legends. There's going to be a lot of people there.
Yep.
And again, I'm sure there's going to be surprises. I wouldn't be surprised if Hogan shows up and like the whole thing with him has been mended. I would not be surprised if The Rock shows up. Brock Lesnar will also be there. He'll be making one of his scheduled appearances there. Bork Laser will be doing his thing with the lasers and the borking.
And the suplexing, and the suplexing, and the suplexing, and the eating, and the suplexing, and the suplexing.
Don't forget about the sleeping.
Blood, urine, and vomit.
You do also realize that you're like leaning way far away from the mic, so a lot of your audio is probably not getting picked up right now at the moment.
It
so
was unimportant.
So that's the 25th anniversary of Raw, and I believe is that everything we've got as far as the wrestling is concerned?
Ooh. I just remembered something.
Because we got stuff to talk about in the video games. We got lots of video game stuff to cover. Not a lot of time to cover it in.
One quick thing I'm going to bring up because I just remembered.
All in? What? I feel like I should know what that is.
All In 2018. I will tell you.
That's Cody Rhodes' show.
Yep.
He announced it.
And right now, people
of it.
who are all in are Cody Rhodes. And it's September 1st, by the way. Cody Rhodes is all in. The Young Bucks are all in. Marty Scurll is all in. Hangman Page is all in. Steve Amell, the Arrow.
Oh, well, that's not a surprise. Yeah. I'm not surprised that Steve Amell is
all in. Kenny Omega is all in. So,
can I mention, by the way, that I laughed hard when Jericho made fun of the way that the Japanese fans say Kenny's name.
Kenny!
He was like, Kenny!
Oh, and also the Elite apparently cleared out the end of the year awards for ROH. Adam Hangman Page won Breakout Star of the Year. Marty Scurll won Best Final Battle Entrance. The Young Bucks won Tag Team of the Year. And Cody won Wrestler of the Year.
You know what I just realized? The Bullet Club didn't win a single match at New Japan.
Yes, they did. No, they won the very first match.
Oh, well, the Young Bucks. Outside of the Young Bucks, they lost every single match.
Kenny Omega.
Oh, God damn it. Kenny Omega.
They lost two matches.
Right. Well, no, they lost. They lost. Skrull lost his championship, and then there was the 6-man match that they lost, and then Cody lost.
So they won 2 out of 5.
They still had a losing record.
Okay, but you were saying no one. And I was like,
for some reason, I was forgetting that Omega freaking beat Jericho, and that the Young Bucks won their match. I was like, wait a minute, did because like it was tying into the Jay White thing and the whole like down there. I'm like, did Bullet Club like lose all of their matches?
No, thankfully, no.
Mm-hmm. But they were 2-2 in title matches, and then Cody lost.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yep.
All right, so that's All In. That's happening in September. That is, for those of you who don't know, that is Cody Rhodes basically answering the challenge of people saying they can't fill a 10,000 seat arena.
Yeah, something like that.
So he's like, challenge accepted. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So it's called All In, and it's happening September 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And that's gonna bring an end to our wrestling discussion.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to move into video games. Yep, there it is. There it is. I was hoping you would do it right at the start. Our Overwatch news.
Yeah. They started the Overwatch League yesterday, right?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Today is, we are recording this and streaming this on Friday, January 12th. It started on Wednesday, January 10th, the Overwatch League.
Okay. But yeah, I didn't get to see much of it. You saw more of it, but what I've seen of, I am mostly impressed. But I still feel like, hey, New York Excelsiors, if you want to give me a tryout,
Yeah, because you can totally match up to the South Korean pros.
I might be able to. You never know. You see, one of the differences as to one thing I've always found is I'm not a great one-on-one guy in shooting games like this, but I'm a great team player where I'm always backing everyone up. That's why I never lost a team match in Halo.
I don't think that's accurate.
That is accurate.
In the original Halo or across the entire Halo series?
The first 2 Halos.
Okay. Anyway. So for those of you who don't know about the Overwatch League, I believe we've mentioned it before on the podcast because we talk about Overwatch every single episode of the podcast.
Most episodes.
So there's been 38 times we've talked about Overwatch. The Overwatch League is basically a professional esports league that is being run by Activision Blizzard itself, which is the company that made Overwatch. And MLG is handling all of the broadcast stuff because MLG is also owned by Activision. Mm-hmm. And basically it's being run like a traditional North American sports league where instead of having teams that are just made by people and just have owners and coaches and are owned by maybe corporations or whatever, which, I mean, technically they still kind of are.
Yeah.
They each have their own city that they represent. So we've got 12 teams in the league. There are 6 teams in each division. There's Atlantic and Pacific division. So whatever ocean your city is closest to, you represent that division.
Now, what if Panama gets a team?
They roll a die.
You mean flip a coin, maybe?
Maybe. Or maybe they just drop themselves into the canal, whichever way the canal floats them towards. They're in that division.
Or maybe they're like Switzerland and they're the neutral league.
So they get an automatic buy-in to the playoffs just because?
I guess.
No. So, anyway, for those of you who don't know, there are 12, as I mentioned, there are 12 teams in the league. 9 of them are from the United States. 3 of them are from outside the U.S. We have the New York Excelsior, the Boston Uprising. Fun fact, the Excelsior are owned by Mets owner Jeff Wilpon. The Uprising are owned by New England Patriots owner...
Hey, Wilpon, I used to work for you before. Let me work for you again.
Anyway, Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, owns the Boston Uprising. Then we've got the Houston Outlaws, the Shanghai Dragons out in China, the Seoul Dynasty in South Korea. We've got 2 Los Angeles teams in the Los Angeles Valkyrie and the Los Angeles Gladiators. And then I just need to pull up...
I'm bringing it up.
We've got the London Spitfire, which is representing England, and then we also have the San
Francisco Shock.
Yeah, the San Francisco Shock and Dallas. What is Dallas's name? I cannot for the life.
Apparently, there's 2 LA teams.
Yes, I just mentioned that. The Valkyrie and the Gladiators.
Valiant and Gladiators.
Yes, the Dallas Fuel is Valiant, and the Florida Mayhem as well. So, wow, I was remembering them all off the top of my head before we started. But I'm going to go over this again just so you guys make sure, because I've actually got it up here. We've got the Boston Uprising, the Dallas Fuel, the Florida Mayhem, which is the Misfits esports team, if anybody knows them, the Houston Outlaws, the London Spitfire, the Los Angeles Gladiators, the Los Angeles Valiant, the New York Excelsior, which... fun thing, the Excelsior logo makes an X, and if you look in the helmet of the Valiant for Los Angeles, it makes the V. Mm-hmm. We've also got the Philadelphia Fusion, who did not play in the preseason, so nobody knew what they were going to be able to do, but they actually won their match last night against, I'm trying to remember who they played. It wasn't Dallas, it wasn't Boston, against Houston. They played the Houston Outlaws. Houston Outlaws are regarded as one of the better teams in the league, potentially might have a chance of challenging Seoul and London for the championship, and they actually lost. to Philadelphia Fusion. So that shocked everybody. Not
Like
the
the
San
San
Francisco
Francisco
Shock,
Shock.
which is another team. And then we have the Seoul Dynasty and the Shanghai Dragons. So Seoul Dynasty consists of the two best South Korean Overwatch teams. And as we know about South Koreans, they good at them video games.
Mhm.
So you've basically got the two best teams. Each team gets to have 12 roster slots, which is 2 lineups of 6 for Overwatch. And basically what the Seoul Dynasty did is they took the two best teams and are like, okay, you guys are basically going to compete for the starting spots. So you got the two best teams basically competing for against each other in practice for starting spots. That spells serious danger for everybody else. It's basically the Seoul Dynasty seems to be the all-star team.
I mean, that's why New York needs me.
Well,
I'm from New York.
No, because New York
I'm
is
good.
also one of the best esports teams for Overwatch from South Korea.
I'm just saying, give me a tryout. I've never gotten to try out.
They're
for anything
actually
like this. I'm
fun
pretty
fact.
good
They're
at the
actually
game.
you can if you want to back up your mouth. You want to try to walk the walk after talking the talk.
Okay.
There is a tryout window after the season
I'm gonna
for
look into that.
people to try out to try and make the teams.
I'm gonna look into
Or
that.
get a look and potentially get signed as teams. I believe you have to like form your own team, and then there's like an online tryout tournament thing. I don't know the exact details. I could be completely wrong. I'm paraphrasing, but I know that there's a tryout window after the season.
I
The
will
season
definitely look into
has
that.
started now, and there are going to be stages. It's 5 stages, I believe, of 2 matches each. So when it's all said and done, I believe each team will play 10 games, if I'm correct, or is it 10 stages? Anyway, there are stages, and each team will play a couple games for a few weeks in that stage. When that stage is over, the 2 teams with the highest record will play each other to be the stage champion. All that basically is bragging rights for that stage. You were the best team. There are overall standings. The season will go until the middle of June. We're in January. It starts in January, ends in June, and then they will enter the playoffs. 6 teams out of the 12 will make the playoffs. It goes whoever comes in first, whoever wins each division is automatically qualified in the playoffs. Then it's the 4 teams after them with the best record will go into the playoffs. The playoffs will be a one-off elimination. The winner will be the Overwatch League champion, the first ever Overwatch League champion. And the playoffs happen in July. And then there's an all-star game that happens in August.
Hit me up. Let me try.
So
I am good at Overwatch. It is one of the few games I am really good at.
yeah, the first games were played over last night and today. And basically everybody got to play one game. So we're one game in. Everybody's going to play their second game today and tomorrow. So, everybody gets to play. I think actually what it is it's 5 stages with 4 games played over the course of 2 weeks or 3 weeks, something like that. I'm going to stop trying to guess. But the current standings right now, basically we're going to tell you who won their first game and who lost their first game. The Valiant won. They're in first place with the Gladiators behind them. And then behind them is the New York Excelsior. They won their first game. London Spitfire won their first game. Philadelphia Fusion won their first game. And the Seoul Dynasty won their first game. Houston, Dallas, Boston, Florida, and San Francisco and Shanghai all lost their first games.
Looks like the southern United States is not doing too good.
Yeah. So, okay, here's what it is.
Northeast.
I actually have it all set up now. It's 4 stages with 5 weeks. So that's the way it runs. So I apologize for getting that wrong earlier. It's 4 stages. There are 5 weeks in each stage. And then whoever has the best record at the end of each stage, those 2 teams get to play each other. And each week has 2 matches. Everybody plays 2 matches in each week. So that's where I was getting the 10 from. They play 10 matches in each stage. So it's going to be a total of 40 matches overall in the season.
Okay.
And in week 1, just to recap the scores, the Los Angeles Valiant defeated the San Francisco Shock 4-0, which I should probably also explain the way that the matches work. Each match is 4 matches are played, and whoever wins the majority of those matches wins the game. You play all 4 matches no matter what. If the teams are tied at the end of each game, they play a 5th and final game to determine the winner, and it's based on the control game type. Each game type in Overwatch of the 4 game types is represented with a different map on each game type. So you will play Escort, Control, the combined version, and then the oh god, what is the Siege mode again for Overwatch? where you have to capture point A and then go on to capture point B.
I don't remember. I think that's escort.
No, escort is where you have to escort the payload from one point to another. I'm talking about two capture points, one after another.
I'm used to doing the payload because that's what shows up the most. I know what you're talking about. That's what Horizon Lunar Colony is. I forget what it is, what it's called though.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So we've got ourselves. That's how those games went. I'm sorry, I got distracted for a second. And then so our scores were San Francisco lost to Los Angeles Valiant 4-0. Then the Los Angeles Gladiators beat the Shanghai Dragons 4-0. Dallas and Seoul had an incredibly entertaining match, very hotly contested. It ended 2-1. You might notice that's only adds up to 3. That's because the fourth match ended in a draw.
I'm not surprised at that.
And Dallas was this close to winning their second game and actually tying it up and forcing a fifth game. Dallas Fuel, they are one of the more popular teams. They've got some of the more popular professional esports players competing, but they ran into probably the best team in the entire league of Seoul. So that's what happens when you run into the best team. You fight hard, but you lose. Then we've got London took on the Florida Mayhem. They won 3-1, which is not that much of a surprise. A lot of people don't have a lot of hype attached to Mayhem, which is the Misfits. They don't think they're going to do too well. London is expected to be one of the best teams. Then again, Philadelphia Fusion with the surprise upset against the Houston Outlaws. That was an insane game there. And then we had the rivalry of Boston versus New York. New York Excelsior, they took the first game, then lost to Boston the second game. Then they just took over, won 3-1. One thing I have to say is that for the New York Excelsior, Pine played one of the sickest rounds with McCree I've ever seen. It was pretty goddamn nuts. He was just headshotting people left and right. There was I showed you his run. That's a bit of what you got to see the Overwatch League, where he was coming into one of the buildings on, I believe the map was Ilios, and the other McCree came around the corner, and pretty much in the time it would take for me to realize that there's another character who came into the area to start to aim, he had already seen, aimed, shot, headshot, got the kill. His accuracy was dead on. He ran that game, had control of that game. He had Boston basically trying to play to avoid him and stay away from him and be able to try and deal with him, and that allowed the Excelsior basically to win the control match, just to dominate. I'm pretty sure they won 100% to 0. Definitely in the second game.
The second game they did. The first game, I believe Boston got 30-something% of the way.
Yeah.
And then New York had it the rest.
But it was a masterclass. And as somebody who, McCree was my first main. He's one of my favorite characters. He's the guy I gravitated to first. Seeing somebody be able to master him and play him that well on that professional of a level, it was amazing to watch.
Yeah. I'm more of a fan of, I usually play more of the Junkrat Torbjorn. When I do offense, I usually do either Soldier or Sombra. Healer, I switch up between Zenny and Lucio, and sometimes Ana and Moira I use too. Mm-hmm. I mix up with a lot of different ones, but never really got the hang of McCree. And really,
I love McCree. I really like McCree. He acts as a sniper. He can get up close with that flashbang and fan of the hammer. He's not easy to be able to play as, but once you get the hang of him, he's so much fun. But yeah, my normal characters are Diva, McCree.
I'll play as Diva too. Yeah.
I like Soldier. I like playing Soldier. My tanks, in addition to Diva, I like doing the Roadhog sometimes. The hook, even though.
That's actually something that I didn't mention to you the last time I played.
What's that?
I was playing random, because that's how I like trying to get used to all the characters, because I played as certain ones, and now I'm trying to get myself more used to playing as all different characters. And I actually got thrown into a match as Roadhog, and I, without even realizing it, got a 12 kill streak as Roadhog, just killing people left and right. And I was like,
were you using the hook or just shotgunning people from a distance?
A little bit of both. Whenever anyone got close enough for me to use the hook, I'd hook them and kill them. But there were a lot of people that were at a distance I was killing with a shotgun. I was like, I did not realize I was that good as Roadhog, but okay.
Apparently. Yeah. Maybe you should try out as a Roadhog. Try to be a tank player.
Maybe.
But you got to be able to switch it up between, because this is the thing. Like,
yeah, I'm good with Diva too.
A lot of because a lot of the ways that the reason why these guys get signed in professional Overwatch is they're signed based on a specific role because they excel in a specific class, be it tank, defense, support, or assault. So,
my strongest is definitely defense, though.
Yeah,
because I love Junkrat. I'm so good at it. He's such a fun character to play as, and I'm also pretty damn good as Torbjorn too.
Yeah, there was some pretty good Junkrat play this week so far in the Overwatch League, and I will mention there was a really sick Sombra EMP by one of the characters on Houston in their game with Philadelphia that was just nasty. I just watched it. I'm like, oh, that's mean. You just did that entire team dirty. He just EMP'd the entire team, racked up 3 kills out of it, and his team the rest of Houston, the Outlaws, just mowed down Philadelphia. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to win them the entire match, but it was just one of the coolest moments I saw out of the competitions. If anybody's interested, if you're watching this live, or if you're watching this the day it comes out on YouTube, which will be tomorrow, today for Friday, we've got the Valiant taking on the Fuel at 7. I believe this is all Eastern Standard Time that I'm seeing right now, so that's 7 o'clock. Then we've got the Florida Mayhem taking on the Boston Uprising at 9. Then we got the San Francisco Shock taking on the Shanghai Dragons at 11. And then tomorrow, which will be today, if you're watching this the day it came out on YouTube, January 13th, Saturday, we've got the London Spitfire versus the Philadelphia Fusion, which that'll be an interesting game to see based on how Philadelphia performed against Houston. Then we've got Houston versus New York. That'll be another good one. And then we're going to have the LA Gladiators, who won their first match 4-0 against the Seoul Dynasty. So today you've got the LA Valiant versus the Dallas Fuel, which will be a really good game. But like tomorrow, I feel like tomorrow is stacked with the games that you got. So it'll be interesting to watch tomorrow's stuff.
One match I'm excited to see down the road is I want to see New York Excelsior versus the London Spitfire. I feel like that'd be a really good match.
Yes, it would be. Or I want to see how, because New York Excelsior is our team. I want to see how they stack up against the London Spitfire and the Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah,
though it might get ugly. So that's everything on the Overwatch League, guys. Just wanted to get that in on our little Overwatch news. Anything else Overwatch-wise that you would want to talk about before we transition over and try to rapid fire out the rest of this gaming news?
Not really. I haven't really heard too much. This is all they've really been focused on this week.
Understandable. No.
I think that just about does it for us this week.
All right, so in other news, PUBG. You guys know that I love myself some PUBG. They made some updates which got themselves some new clothing, and they also apparently vehicles will do more damage, and they've changed the model of their energy drink. As you notice, it looked like a Red Bull knockoff. They've actually changed it now.
Not Bull.
Yeah, which is a shame because I liked the whole not Bull that looked like a Red Bull, but now it looks like a muscle-bound dude giving a thumbs up. So, interesting. So, if you see a can like that in PUBG and you're like, where are the Red Bull cans? What the hell is this? That is an energy drink.
You need boost, drink a Russian radiation drink. That's what it looks like to me.
I guess. Okay. I'm just going to be like, okay, whatever. So, also, moving on from that, because we gotta wrap this episode up, so we gotta go through the gaming news really quick, unfortunately. We had a lot of wrestling to talk about.
Oh, yeah. And there's only going to be more as the month goes on.
And we had to break down all of the Overwatch League. CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 may not be dead. A lot of people were like, what's going on with this game? We've heard nothing for years since the announcement.
No. There was news, I want to say 8 months ago, about how someone had hacked into them and was threatening to release information. They were like, do it. Go ahead. And they released concept art and stuff. But they've just been very, very hush-hush about this, and I am very excited for this game, because these are the same guys that made The Witcher.
Yep.
So I'm super excited for this game.
Yeah. So apparently people are like, oh boy, we might actually start seeing stuff on the Cyberpunk game, be that at E3, be that in the coming months, because the Cyberpunk game Twitter came out with a tweet that was simply beep. Which, I mean, Cyberpunk, robots, machines, they beep, they do stuff, so it was a nice little team. Do they boop?
Sometimes.
I haven't heard one boop in a while. Are you sure that they boop?
Yeah.
Are my machines wrong because they don't boop?
I mean, they just might not speak boop.
They might just be exclusively beep talkers?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll stick with my beepers. So, lame jokes aside.
Yep.
So Cyberpunk is showing signs of life. There was a tweet from the official thing. It sounds like it's a tease for the game. So people are getting hyped and excited. We might see and learn more about that in the future. Also, there was a Nintendo Direct Mini that finally got announced, and I believe during that there were a few announcements. Let me see if I can find it because I'm looking at the actual announcements here. Here are the 5 biggest announcements from a mini Nintendo Direct. A lot of people were claiming that we're clamoring for a Direct, and we're like, oh, there hasn't been a Direct in a while. Nintendo fans are gonna go crazy. Nintendo, you need to make a Direct. So they did a mini Direct, and some of the big announcements that came out of it was Dark Souls will come to the Nintendo Switch.
Prepare to die wherever you want to take your Switch.
Yep. Then The World Ends With You is coming to console. The World Ends With You was a very popular RPG from days past.
Okay.
Very, very popular from Square Enix. So that's a cool thing. Wii U ports aplenty are coming. We are getting ports of Hyrule Warriors, Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze, and Pokken Tournament DX are coming to the Switch from the Wii U.
I see the next one, and I really want to get a Switch now.
Yeah, Mario.
I really wanted before. Now I want it even more because I love those games.
Yes, Mario Tennis is coming back, and let's see what I can see. If I can get the details on here, because apparently it's coming with a story mode.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, it looks like it's just mentioning that it has a story mode. No details about the story mode, but that there will be a story mode in addition to just being able to play Mario Tennis. But Mario Tennis was a lot of fun. It's one of the best sports games that Nintendo makes, alongside with Strikers.
Mm-hmm.
Luigi is finally going to be in Super Mario Odyssey because the game is getting a bunch of downloadable content. Let's see. We're gonna run this down. There are new photo filters for Snapchat mode. There are new costumes for Mario. There is a mini game called Balloon World, which will add some lighthearted post-campaign content for ranking obsessed players. This information coming from Polygon. The star of Balloon World isn't Mario, though. It's Luigi. So he will get to hang out in Super Mario Odyssey after being left out of the main game. So he's going to be part of the Balloon World minigame. So if you want to do the Balloon World minigame, go ahead and talk to Luigi. Also, Donkey Kong is coming to Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Oh, nice.
And a fun little political thing that we're gonna just say and then leave alone. Donald Trump, I don't think the president of the United States, doesn't know what type of fighters he's selling to countries, which may or may not be a good thing. Because
may or may not. He doesn't know what's going on with selling military supplies. That may not be bad.
He claimed that that the United States was delivering the first F-52 fighter jets to Norway. But there's a problem with that. The F-52 planes are not actual planes. They're ones made for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. They're fictional.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, what people believe is that he confused it with the F-35 planes. So there's a 5 in there and an F.
Yeah.
So he got the number wrong. But a lot of people are having fun because, he's the president of the United States and he can't remember the exact name of the fighters that were sold to him, and he got it wrong.
And he said that they were selling something that was from a video game.
Yeah.
Which is nice to poke fun at.
Yeah.
You messed up.
Mm-hmm. Also, if you enjoyed Assassin's Creed Rogue but didn't get to play it on the last console, you have a chance because it is being remastered and it's going to be in 4K.
Thank you. Because that's one thing that bothered me, is I came out with that only on the previous systems when I had to get the new system and never got to play it. So now maybe I'll actually get to try it and continue the story. By the way, I've been playing Assassin's Creed Origins. It is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Even better than I thought it would be.
So basically, now that Overwatch League has happened, the MLS, the Major League Soccer, is partnering with FIFA to try and do its own little FIFA league, similar to the NBA 2K League, but it seems like what's going to happen. I'm gonna read this story from Polygon, so that way I don't mess anything up. It's going to be known as the EMLS, and it will resemble esports organizations like the NBA 2K League, and that its competitors will represent real-life sports teams. So basically what they're going to have is they're going to have teams of esports players play FIFA, but they're actually going to represent they're going to represent and play as the players from the MLS on the teams from the MLS. So like every team will be like, it'll be the Chicago Fire, the New York City Red Bull, NYCFC, Orlando City SC, Portland Union, Seattle Sounders FC. But it'll be esports players playing as those teams against one another in a league.
Interesting.
Let's see if I'm going to keep reading this. Competition to make EMLS will be fierce, as each of the aforementioned clubs will field an esports squad of just one professional gamer to represent it in the FIFA 18 league. So it looks like it'll just be maybe one person representing that team, and we'll play as that entire team.
Interesting.
The organizers of EMLS are leaving that process up to the individual clubs. Each one will figure out its own method of selecting a FIFA 18 pro from its region. So basically, that's interesting. So it seems like each club has to pick a pro gamer from their state or from their area, and that person will represent their team in the FIFA 18 leagues. That's interesting. With only one esports athlete per MLS club, rather than a roster of multiple players, it's unclear whether the league has a standard contingency plan in case a club's sole representative is unable to compete for some reason. As for details, an MLS spokesman told Polygon that some teams may choose to have multiple players represent them. So, like, basically, like, backups.
Yeah.
There's no word on whether EMLS pros are being set up as full-time jobs like spots in the NBA 2K League or the Overwatch League, which I will mention about the Overwatch League. That's a cool thing. I looked into that. Overwatch League players, they're making a base salary of $50,000, and they're being their housing's being covered, and they're being given medical insurance.
Nice.
And all that stuff. So it's being treated like a full-time job.
Another reason
which
I
is
need
good.
to get on that.
Yes. The owners of the squads in those esports organizations are often billionaires or corporations, and they provide the athletes with salaries, benefits, and housings, as we mentioned. And the MLS was unable to comment on this aspect of the league at press time. So that's interesting to see that we're going to have another esports league coming up. It'll be interesting to see how it works, how it pans out. FIFA is very popular, so it might be successful. It also depends on like how behind this the MLS gets. Because as you noticed with Activision Blizzard, like they went all out on production value and everything and on the arena and overlays to make it look like a big deal. And I think that maybe is another thing that like is going to help the Overwatch League succeed if it does, is the fact that like not that other tournaments aren't treating it like a big deal, but like Activision is going above and beyond.
Yeah.
And then the final little piece of news is, do you guys two final pieces of news. Second to last one, Detective Pikachu is heading to the West. So the Detective Pikachu game that has been the subject of memes is coming to our shores.
Yeah.
It initially launched the winter of 2016, and the English language version is coming. The game is currently in a live action movie of it is being made for some reason with Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu, which is really weird.
Yep.
But yeah, it's going to be coming to the US, and it's going to have a Detective Pikachu size amiibo, which is a jumbo sized. The normal Pikachu amiibo is 7.1 centimeters. This one is going to be 13.6 centimeters. Interesting. And then the final bit of news, we like to talk about this game a lot. It's a fighting game that's coming out this month, in a couple weeks actually. The beta for Dragon Ball FighterZ, the open beta, is going to be happening soon. And it was revealed by Bandai Namco Spain who the fighters in the open beta are going to be. So if you want to start the open beta, it looks like it's going to start Sunday at 9 a.m. Central CET. So that's, I believe, Spain time. So that's going to be like 3 a.m. here. So that's midnight on the West Coast. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's going to go from Sunday the 13th until Wednesday the 16th, making sure I got that math right, at midnight.
You'll be able to play as,
and you will be able to play as these different fighters: Nappa, Super Saiyan Vegeta, Super Saiyan Goku, Piccolo, Krillin, Perfect Cell, Android 18 with Android 17 as a built-in support, Frieza, Beerus, Kid Buu, and Adult Gohan.
But where's Chaozu?
Chaozu's not in the game.
Where's Yamcha?
Yamcha's in the game, but he's not in the beta.
Where's Tien?
Tien's in the game, but he's not in the beta.
Why aren't they in the beta? Those are the guys I want to play as.
Really?
Kind of.
I mean, I kind of want to play them too, but I'm not like I have to play as them.
What about Yajirobe?
Yajirobe is not in the game.
Damn it! Come on, guys.
We did also get
it together.
We did get a trailer though this week for Hit.
Okay.
A trailer for Hit, the character from Dragon Ball Super, was in there. It looks like he's gonna be fun.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So with that, everybody, that's gonna do it for episode 38 of the Super Grapple Bros podcast. House cleaning time. Do not forget house cleaning, whatever. It's been a rough podcast for me today, but anyway, housekeeping stuff. You can find us live on twitch.tv/L_Murpho every try to do it every single week, but every time we do it, it's on a Friday or a Saturday. Be sure to keep tuned for that. We let you guys know about that via Twitter. I'm at L_Murpho. He's at DMurph_42. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
We try to give you guys advance notice because, we have full-time jobs, so our schedules fluctuate. He has a family that he has to deal with. That he just deals with. He doesn't love them or anything. He just deals with them. So times and whether or not it's a Friday or a Saturday, it varies. On a rare occasion, we'll do a Sunday. So you got to follow us on Twitter. We try to give you guys advance notice. But if you can't keep up with us when we're live, 24 hours after we're live on Twitch, we are on demand both immediately on Twitch and 24 hours after the fact on YouTube at youtube.com/LMurphoReal. So be sure to check us out there. You can listen to us in audio form as well every single time an episode is uploaded on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and lots of other places where podcasts can be found. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe. The more reviews we get, the more ratings we get, the more we will actually show up as a rated podcast on iTunes. People will be able to comment and find us and all that kind of stuff. Interact with us. And don't forget to share, and subscribe all of our stuff on YouTube as well. If you're coming by on Twitch and you catch us live, get involved in the chat. As you guys know, we love to talk to you guys and get involved in the conversation. Get you guys involved in the conversation we're having on the podcast every single episode. You can also email us at supergrappbros@gmail.com with any questions, comments, topics of discussion, feedback, stuff like that. You can also lobby any topics or discussion talk on my Discord server, which is the Murpho Discord server. You can find that in the description on the YouTube videos as well as on my channel page on Twitch. I believe I got it all. So why don't you send us home with the Kayfabe News article of the episode.
The article of the week is Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan to star in WWE remake of How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
With the follow-up tagline of How I Met Your Mother will air on the WWE Network right after the remake of Three's Company starring The New Day.
Oh, God. Ew, that's gross.
Yep.
Took me a second to realize that. Hopefully with this remake, it doesn't turn out that, Kurt Angle just loved this other woman the whole time and Jason Jordan's like, we'll go get her, and totally ruins the ending for millions of people.
Yep.
And maybe a scorned How I Met Your Mother fan.
And that woman will be Stephanie McMahon, and that will lead to Kurt Angle versus Triple H at WrestleMania.
Woo! See, synergy. We gotta have corporate synergy here. All right, guys, that's it for us tonight.
Corporation synergy.
Corporate
ministry synergy.
No, stop it. You've gone too far. You bring it back. Bring it up. We're leaving. Goodbye, guys. Take care. Deuces, deuce, all that. I'm getting out of here before he says something worse. Bye.
Shut up and sit down. Wow.